it's Caitlyn, and it's time for the newest custom pop. So this is Pig Iron from the Zoo Crew series that I'm working on. So someone, I mentioned I didn't really want to pick the next one. So I just took the first one that commented something in the last video. I can't remember who it was. But I know they actually, listed in order the next ones I was gonna do, I should have done. But I only listened to the top one, so the very first one was Pig Iron. So that's the one I did. As you can see, he's all metallic and stuff. Now, there are parts of him that came out exactly as I pictured. Some of them not so much. The head on him, so this is the Hulk's body with the pig from Five Nights at Freddy's thing with the banjo. I don't know. I forget. Pig Patch, I think was his name. I don't remember. So it's a bobblehead with a normal head. So the head is very unstable. I pretty much just glued the peg right to the base of the head. So it has come off. There's actually a bunch of glue gunk around the neck from where I had to fix it. But other than that, I think it turned out pretty damn good. The eyes are a little bit iffy, but the rest of it I think turned out more or less completely perfect. And in my eyes anyway. So I used a few different, not really different techniques, but a few different cost-effective ways of doing this one this time. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoy it. I definitely did. This was one of the more fun yet time-consuming ones that I've done. So yeah, I hope you guys like it. I know I've had several people comment lately about how much they love the custom series. Actually, I was thinking about stopping it, and now people are saying that they love it. So the custom series is here to stay, I promise. And I know some people are loving it just for the Zoo Crew series as well, and that astounds me. I actually, very, very happy that people are loving it so much. So the one after this is also going to be a Zoo Crew series because I did 2 non-Zoo Crew series back to back. So yeah, that'll be coming up next, and then after that is going to be a Halloween edition custom video, which I'm very much looking forward to starting. But anyway, guys, let me know what you guys think of the pig iron here, and enjoy the rest of the video. So, first off, of course, is always decapitation. I've gotten to the point where I don't really film that part because it's just the same thing over and over again. It's just me holding the phone. So, first step after that was to carve down some of the extra features on both the face and the body. So, Pig Patch, I still don't really know if that's I think that's a thing, has these Pikachu cheeks, which are interesting. They are, but we don't need it. You can see also there in that little paint palette, I've already clipped off the tail. Off the normal pig body so that I could re-glue it onto the Hulk's body for later use, obviously. But yeah, I sanded those cheeks down the best I could, just to making them as smooth as possible with both the Dremel and the hand sandpaper. And then I did the same thing to Hulk. Now Hulk had a lot of detail. A lot of detail. I love Funko for their detail, but not when I have to destroy it all because it's so freaking time consuming. So the Hulk here, I used the Endgame Hulk because the one I could find real easily. And it's wearing that full body suit, and there's a lot of detail. And Pig Iron doesn't have too much in the way of clothes, not nearly as much as Hulk. So I was trying my best to whittle down all the extra details. You could see there, right when I was turning it around, that I did cut off the toes already so that I could sculpt the pig toes on there later, the hooves on there later. But yeah, I'm just going around the entire pop, sanding as much as I can down from it. I can't make it fully smooth, but I can go down and get the worst parts, the ones that would stick out the most. Real quick, I want to say again that I appreciate everyone putting up for the buzzing that comes from my computer every time I use my editing software. I apologize, plus the AC in the room. I know some people said the buzzing doesn't really bug them, it bugs me. But I appreciate y'all putting up with it. But anyway, so I got out the epoxy next, and I am wearing gloves. You have to wear a mask, remember, when you're sanding. Always when you're sanding, no matter what. Some people also wear a mask during this step. I don't, because it doesn't, the fumes from this clay doesn't give me a headache or anything. I've been using it for a while now. I haven't had any bad effects from it. But it can make your skin super dry if you use it, on your bare hands, so wear gloves. But it does stick to the gloves sometimes. But anyway, so I'm trying to make the body as smooth as possible. I went in with the Dremel tool and did as much as I could, again, getting the bulk of it off. But now I'm going through little by little with epoxy, pretty much putting it all over the body of the Hulk and just trying to make it as smooth as possible. After I was mostly done with the body, I turned to the head. So Pig Patch had that thing where the jaw looked where it was like supposed to be detached almost from the rest of the head. It had a crease going all the way around it, or a seam. So I'm filling that in with epoxy, smoothing it out. You smooth epoxy out with water, by the way, just water, and your fingers will do the good job. For extra detail, I use the silicone tools so that the epoxy clay won't stick. But yes, I go all the way around this and put a little bit on the cheeks to smooth out what I sanded. I know it's pretty hard to see from this angle, but I also sculpted two tusk teeth onto the head of the figure as well. I just lined it up with the teeth that was already in the mouth and smoothed it down. Because pig iron has these big, like boar-like tusks in there, but I smoothed it down to make sure it was covering the tooth that was already there, and yeah, and smoothed it in the bottom to make sure it blended with the bottom of the mouth. Lastly, on the head, I extended the ears and made them wag down a little bit because pig iron has these little droopy ears. They don't stick straight up like the one on Pig Patch does. So again, I just smoothed it into the ear that was there and extended it a little bit to make it look more lifelike, I guess. After days of working on the body, because I was working on it in separate sections so I don't mess it up, I was finally able to move on to the feet. So you can see I'm kind of smoothing it out to make it almost like socks or something now. But you can see on the one that I've already finished, I carve it out in between the toes, pretty much just using my tool to separate the clay and sculpting it with my fingers to make it look like two large pig hooves because his feet are enormous. After all the epoxy has been cured, I go in with a piece of sandpaper and smooth down all the areas where it connects to the vinyl of the head and the body. The body is pretty much all epoxy at this point. But yes, this part took several days to do because epoxy does take 24 hours to fully cure. So you can imagine how long this took. Again, the body took me about 2 to 3 days alone, and the head, it wasn't as much, but it still had a lot of sanding to do, especially around the base, around where I filled in the hole around the entire head. So wear a mask. Again, don't know how well y'all will be able to see this part, but you can see here I got a very cheap paintbrush that you can buy in pretty much any art kit, and I'm snipping off the end of it. This is one I've actually already used a piece of it before. I was actually making a lightsaber for a Star Wars pop I worked on off camera. So this is the remaining of that handle. So pig iron has these two Frankenstein-like bolts coming out of its temples. So I decided to make the bolts out of the end of these paintbrush handles and a piece of craft foam. You'll see the craft foam come into play later on. I use a bit of it. But yeah, I'm just going to take that and sand off just the edge of it where the pliers made a crease. And I do this with both the green one and the blue one because these things do get thicker the more you go down, and I just want them to be the same size, so I took them off of two different paint handles. Remember what I said about the craft foam being used? Here it is. So you can see I took a piece of string here and I'm measuring it onto the craft foam. I have used that piece of string to measure the waist of the body. And I'm using the pencil to mark it and this protractor, I think is what it's called, to make it a straight line. And then I'm going to cut it out with my X-Acto knife. This is making the little belt, the suspenders, the cuffs on the gloves and the boots for Pig Iron. He has these, they look more like iron bars going across to make his clothing. Pretty much all the support of his clothing. And I was initially going to use epoxy for this, but I used so much epoxy on the body and the head both. I was like, no, there has to be a better way that I don't have to do this. And then I remembered this craft foam. I'm like, this is perfect. So I took it out, measured it, cut it, and super glued it to all the spots of the body that it needed to go on. And as you can see here, I also put those little paintbrush handles already on the side of Pig Iron's head. Also with the foam, I cut out a few circles to use for the pads, I guess. He has these screws as his elbows and knees. He also has the bolts again on his neck that needs the screwy in the head of it. I was about to say the screwy end bit, but I guess it's like the head of the bolt. I'm an idiot. And also his little belt buckle also is circle shaped. So I just cut all of that out of foam. Finally, just about everything is glued on and sculpted on to this thing that needs to be done, and I can finally go to my favorite part, which is the painting. I can finally start painting this damn thing. So as you saw in the beginning, it does turn out completely metallic, but I wanted to go in with my opaque colors first just because they're opaque. Metallic paint is extremely translucent, and it takes many coats in order for it to become opaque. So I knew if I put in a couple coats of this and then a couple coats of metallic, it would be better and more efficient than putting a million coats of just the straight metallic. Because using metallic to cover up those black thing, like circles around the pigs, the eyes and stuff, yeah, that would have taken a million years. As I was starting painting the body, I realized I forgot to do the little divots in the joint screws. I don't know what they're called, y'all, but you know where you put the screwdriver in? That. So he has them on all the bolts on his joints. So I used the back end of my X-Acto knife to put those in just so I wouldn't forget them later, and also it's easier to carve on this stuff before the paint goes on. I had almost completely forgotten about the rivets along pretty much everywhere I put the craft foam, where again his cuffs are, his belt is, everything has these little rivets in it. And I was thinking for a minute, what could I use to do this? I was about to get the epoxy back out, but then I'm like, I'm an idiot, I can just use 3D paint, fabric paint. So that's what I did. I got out a color that I don't use very often because it's just going to be painted over anyway because I didn't have metallic blue. So yeah, I just go all over this thing, putting these little dots for the 3D paint. Some of them came out better than others. There were some dots I had to go back and like dot over and redo them. But this turned out very good, and I'm so glad I thought of it before I got the damn epoxy back out. After 2 to 3 coats of the regular paint, I finally got in with the metallic, and you can see such a huge difference, even though it's basically the same shade of pink almost, how much it really pops with that, and it really does give a shade of more metal in this case, especially with the bolts and stuff coming out of his head. So yeah, I only put in about 2 layers of the metallic just to make sure it was thick enough. It didn't really need it. I could have gotten away with 1. But yeah, I went ahead and did 2 just for good measure. Okay, so here's where I realized I made a mistake. So I went over, because those rivets I made were dark green, I wanted to go over with the opaque color again before I went in with the metallic. I don't think it would have been that big of a difference because it's so dark, but I still want to do it just to make sure. And I messed up a lot. I got a lot of blue on the pink parts. Yeah, and you can see I also accidentally painted the hands when they're not supposed to be a skin color, they're supposed to be gloves. But it was really hard to use the metallic paint to cover up the blue because again, it's so transparent. So I should have done the darker color first. I should have just waited for everything to dry, the rivets, everything to dry, and then paint the belt and the gloves and boots and everything blue before I went in with the pink skin. Yeah, I made a mistake there. So I ended up having to put like blobs of the regular paint first, the pink paint. You'll see it later on. I don't think I filmed it, but you might see it in some of the close-ups at the end. There are some spots that don't look right, and that's because I went over with the regular pink paint over the blue spots and then went over with the metallic, and it stood out. I don't know how or why it stood out so much, but it does. I wouldn't say you would know it necessarily if you didn't know it was there, but there's definitely some spots where it's a bit of a more of an eyesore. So I do regret that. I wish I had done this the opposite way, but damn it, I did not have any more patience left after waiting so long with the epoxy. I wanted to get on this thing. And boo, you can see where I went, why I went with white for the eyes. Lord, those black, I tried to use regular black eyes, and it was scary. So I switched the eyes to white, the first part of the Zoo Crew line that has white eyes. I did that a little bit later though, unfortunately. But yeah, I painted the inside of the mouth a dark red. I painted the teeth white. I painted the inside of the nostrils and the inside of the ears in a darker pink metallic color. I didn't necessarily need to go over it because metallic on metallic, but yeah, it was darker. But yeah, this was where I realized I was going to leave the lids unpainted as well. Nope. So after this part, I definitely got on to painting them white. Okay, guys. So as you see here, I'm starting to do the blue metallic paint. Wow. Okay, so you got. I'll post this video like end of September or end of August, beginning of September. And I've had this done for months. It's been sitting in my art room with the other Zoo Crew Pops for a good 2 months. And I've been sitting here editing this for the past hour. I just now noticed I totally forgot to paint the crotch. Like his pants, like his belt is there, but like his ass and stuff is still like naked. And I literally just now noticed. I'm doing this like late at night. I'm gonna have to go up there tomorrow, and fix that because wow, I'll post a picture on Instagram after I get the crotch painted because this is. How the hell did I? How in this shit did I forget that part? I don't know, but anyway. So this was when I was putting on the blue metallic for what was supposed to be the clothes, and I'm just gonna say right now, off camera, I put in the extra details. I put in the uh, pink metallic paint for the screws on his knees and his elbows. I did the line, whatever, where the screwdriver goes, with that dark pink metallic paint. And also he has this little panel over his chest, I guess where his heart would be. that looks just like, an extra panel, like it's detachable almost. So I painted that in with that dark pink paint as well, and then I did the detail on his belt buckle with my Posca paint pens. Yeah, I'm gonna I'm gonna be laughing at myself all night now. Wow. So all children, please turn away because oh man, I still can't believe I did that. Yeah, I can, but because I'm a stupid idiot. But anyway, here is pig iron mostly finished. Again, I will post on my Instagram when I get his trunks painted. Wow, I'm an idiot. But the one good thing about this is the heft of the epoxy does make it so that this thing stands really, really well. Again, the head is super fragile, which makes me scared for having to get it back out and repaint it some more. With the group shot here, the next zoo crew member is already done, and I took the picture today, so I might have to redo the picture so that Pig Iron has his damn clothes on. But crap for the next video. But yeah, I know the comment section's gonna be full of it now. But y'all go ahead. I'm making fun of myself too. But yeah, we have the 4th member of the Zoo Crew series done, guys, and I'm very happy with how this is coming along. Again, the next one is going to be another member of the Zoo Crew series. It's going to be Yankee Poodle, which is actually the first female character I've done on the channel. The very first custom pop I ever did was a female character, but I haven't done any on camera yet. So that's going to be cool. And then after her, again, she's already done, but after her video, I have the remaining supplies for one more member of the Zoo Crew, and then I have to buy some more supplies, and by supplies I mean pops, to do the rest of it. But these will get done. I think we're about halfway there. I think there's like 7 or 8 members of the Zoo Crew. I can't really remember. But thank you all for sticking through this with me. I really love doing this. I love customizing pops, and doing something obscurely DC is just really freaking amazing. Again, keep a look on my Instagram for the non-nude version of Pig Iron, and let me know how much you guys like this, if you liked it at all. I apologize again for the buzzing, but I really love you guys for sticking it out with me. And let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. And remember, like always, guys, it's a community and not a competition. I'll see y'all later. Bye.